High definition news for the first Tuesday after the first Monday in November, Election Day, November 8th, 2016. I'm Jeff Kaufman.
Hillary Clinton is the most corrupt person ever to seek the office of the presidency of the United States.
It is a choice between division or unity, between strong, steady leadership or a loose cannon who could risk everything.
After a final day of campaigning that ended after midnight this morning for both Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, election 2016 is finally up to the voters. And like millions of others across the country, the man and woman who would be the 45th president were up early today to go to their local polling place. Clinton, along with her husband, the former president, in Chappaqua, New York.
It is the most humbling feeling because, I know how much responsibility goes with this, and so many people are counting on the outcome of this election, what it means for our country, and I'll do the very best I can if I'm fortunate enough to win today.
And Donald Trump in the Big Apple.
Very good.
Very good?
Everything's very good.
Any states in particular?
Yeah, just very good, generally speaking.
Election Day 2016 is just about half over now, and at many polling places across Southern California and the U.S., people are waiting in line to vote. Some of those lines are about as long as the lines we've seen the past 2 weekends in L.A. and Orange counties during early voting. Some voters told us they waited as long as 6 hours to cast a ballot. At other precincts, voters say they were in and out in a half hour or less. There's a lot to the ballot in California. In addition to the presidential race, we're choosing a United States senator to succeed the retiring Barbara Boxer. It's the first election for a senator from California in 24 years in which there's no incumbent. Boxer's a Democrat, and as her party tries to take control of the Senate from the Republicans, one thing is certain even before the polls close. The outcome of this race will not affect the Senate's balance of power. Both of the candidates are Democrats as a result of the state's top 2 primary, which allows all voters, regardless of party, to vote for any candidate, regardless of party, and the 2 candidates who get the most votes, regardless of party, advance to the general election. Attorney General Kamala Harris has been leading in pre-election polls. She faces Orange County Congresswoman Loretta Sanchez. You may also vote for your state senator and assembly member, and in 2 districts in L.A. County, you'll vote for a successor to one of the so-called 5 Little Kings. That's the nickname for the Board of Supervisors. Here's why they got it. L.A. County is this country's biggest county by population, more than 10 million. That's a quarter of the population of California. Only 10 of the 50 states have more people in them than L.A. County does. Each of the soups is the big wheel in a district of about 2 million people. How's that for a power base, governor of the great state of, where did you say you were from? The board is officially nonpartisan, but right now there's a 3-2 liberal majority. Former Labor Secretary Hilda Solis, longtime Supervisor Mark Ridley Thomas, and Sheila Kuehl, who's a former state senator and state assemblywoman. And if you're old enough to remember, or you watch way too much Nick at Night, yes, she was Zelda on the sitcom Dobie Gillis from 1959 to 1963. The board's 2 conservatives, Mike Antonovich and Don Knabe, are both termed out this year, so both of their seats are up for grabs. In the northeast part of the county, Catherine Barger and Darrell Park are running for Antonovich's seat. In the southern part of the county that includes the LBC, the race is to succeed Don Knabe. His longtime deputy and former Manhattan Beach Mayor Steve Napolitano is the conservative candidate. The liberal candidate is Congresswoman Janice Hahn. She's also a former LA City Councilwoman. Her brother is Superior Court Judge and former LA Mayor James Hahn. Their father was Kenneth Hahn, who was an LA County supervisor for 40 years and whose name is on the building in downtown LA in which the supervisors meet. Also on the ballot, 17 statewide initiatives, including one to legalize marijuana for recreational use. There are also 2 related city measures on the Long Beach ballot having to do with taxation and regulation of pot. L.A. County Measure M would make permanent the half-cent sales tax increase designated for transportation projects, and L.A. City voters will decide on a $1 billion bond issue to pay for services for the homeless. Other statewide propositions deal with prescription drug costs, taxes on cigarettes, background checks for people who buy bullets, a ban on plastic grocery bags, an end to the death penalty, and a requirement that performers in porn videos wear condoms. If you have not yet voted, you still have until 8 p.m. to do so. If you're not sure where your polling place is, here's how to find out. In Los Angeles County, lavote.net. That's also where to find out if you're registered. But here's an easier way. If your mailbox has been littered with campaign mailers and they're addressed to you by name, assuming your name is not occupant, you're registered. Those campaign mailing lists are made up of registered voters. In the OC, the website for polling place locations is ocvote.net. Donald Trump has repeatedly claimed throughout this campaign that, in his words, the election is rigged in Hillary Clinton's favor. There is absolutely no evidence to support his claim, and Trump offers none. But here he was last night in Sarasota, Florida.
Be careful with everything. You watch everything, folks, because we're going to win. We don't want it taken away from us.
Trump has called on his supporters to vote and then go to other polling places to monitor voting. The implication has been polling places in areas that tend to vote Democratic, including minority communities. In Orange County, voters had mixed opinions on Trump's call.
It's very important to be done to make sure it's clean.
Oh, it's terrible. I think it would scare people away.
Neil Kelly is in charge of the election in Orange County. He's the registrar of voters. He told Channel 11 he is not thrilled with the idea of a bunch of untrained Trump partisans descending on polling places with a preconceived notion that corruption is rampant.
I think people need to understand that we don't want interference with the voters or the voting process, and that's where I have some concerns.
You truly are making a difference in your community.
That's Ed Lopez. He teaches a class for people in Orange County who want to be polling place monitors.
You're here to help every registered voter cast a ballot and ensure that each ballot is safely secured until it can be counted.
The people actually working at the polling places, 9,000 volunteers across Orange County alone, they are vetted, trained, and supervised by the registrar. We contacted an Orange County polling place worker. Okay, it's my dad, Dick Kaufman, a retired executive who lives in Fullerton. Here's the standard high-definition news disclaimer. The fact that he's my dad does not affect the interview. It just means he picks up the phone when I try to book the interview. Also, he reminds me to call my mom. The most recent election my dad worked, the primary in 2014, and in his neck of the OC, there was no controversy.
I was operating as suburban Orange County, which was a long way from either Newport Beach or Santa Ana or even Anaheim. So it was really very laid back and uneventful.
He says the procedure for securing the ballots and getting them to the registrar's headquarters in Santa Ana at the end of the day was spelled out in some detail.
There has to be a chain of custody of the ballots. So at the end, there is a procedure, a protocol for winding it all up and packing it away. The poll supervisor and one poll worker simply drive their private vehicle to the election headquarters, where everything is very regimented. There's a lot of activity late at night, of course, and there are workers there who are trained and help you to unload your materials. Most of it is just tossed because it's just materials that help people through the process. And the votes themselves are packed and sealed at the polling place and carried that way. And then they are brought into the election headquarters where they get counted.
The polling place workers do not count the ballots. And that's it. It works much the same way in LA County. Republican, Democrat, or decline to state. Conservative, liberal, or labels are for cans of food. Political junkie, or remember the good old days when CNN was only obsessed with that missing Malaysian jetliner? People across the political spectrum are in agreement today on one thing: TGIO. Thank goodness it's over. A poll last week found 82% of us are disgusted by this campaign. And if you pickle yourself in a media stew, it can feel like all day long people are telling you what to do. Don't drink and drive. Turn your thermostat down. Turn it up. Buckle up. Turn your sprinklers off. Drain that standing water. Get yourself a flu shot. Wear a condom. Think of the children. Those last two, not at the same time. And all day today, all kinds of media people will tell you to vote. We soldiers in the news wars like to humble brag that we have the only non-government job mentioned in the Constitution of the United States. But that's not really true. Your job is in there too, and it's much more important. The title does not seem that impressive: voter. And at first glance, the position itself does not sound like much. You don't have to compete with anybody for it. You automatically get it for the asking as long as you meet the only job requirements: a minimum age and citizenship. Admittedly, the pay would have to come up some to suck. No, really, there's no pay. But there are benefits. Here's what your I voted sticker or voter registration card will get you today. Free childcare at the YMCA while you vote. 20% off your first ride from Uber. 45% off a ride to your polling place from Lyft. But since it's Lyft, of course, it will be full price on the ride home. Krispy Kreme will give you a free donut with your sticker. 7-Eleven will give you a free cup of Joe. And then Gold's Gym will let you work it off for free, today only. Oh, almost forgot. One other benefit. You also get to decide the future. Just a few hours to go in your workday for this job you get to do on this first Tuesday after the first Monday in November. No pressure, but we're all counting on you. Go make us proud. Now you know what we know. I'm Jeff Kaufman, High Definition News.